I actually manifested my current job.
Be careful what you wish for because you might get it a lot sooner than you think.
I manifested something before and it's happening now, and I'm going, oh my God.
Where do you feel a lot of that limiting belief comes from?
Don't be the one gaslighting you.
Say it loud for the people at the back. You know Gemini's, the yappers right here. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Gemini Soulcast. My name is Rob.
And I'm Sin.
And Sin, today, I think we have a lot to discuss today.
I think so. There's a lot to unpack here.
A lot to unpack, right? I think we had these conversations off screen and not when we're recording. And I believe that so much of what we talk about deserves to be on Gemini Soulcast.
Yeah.
So before I even get into this type of topic, first of all, I want to say thank you to everybody who's been tuning in from season 1. And for those who are new to it, thank you to all of our new listeners. Write down in the comments what you want us to talk about. As for today, I think one of the biggest conversations, one of the biggest topics that we hold in Gemini Soulcast is about manifestation.
Yes.
And you've been putting me on game to a lot of this too.
Yeah. I've been sharing some stuff.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Would you care to share with the world what you've been learning?
I just been really down the rabbit hole as far as listening to like Neville Goddard.
Love
Because,
Neville.
you know, we're always listening to manifestation coaches and they're learning from Neville Goddard.
Right.
So then I was just like, one day I was like, you know, I should just listen to him, like go straight to the source. And I started listening. And the more that I listened to him, I realized that a lot of us are super impatient when it comes to our manifestations.
Well,
Yeah, because what he says is true. We
true.
focus on the lack instead of the fulfillment.
right.
That feeling that you're supposed to have. And I'm talking about like law of assumption.
As though you
Because-
already have it.
Right.
Right.
As though you already have it. Now, I'm pretty sure that there's things that you've been trying to manifest now that, you know, you've left the 9 to 5. It's Rob's turn. It's Rob's turn now, guys. It's Rob's turn now.
Yeah. I guess that's a new information for those who are listening on the podcast. I have left my job. I took a leap of faith and I said, I'm gonna bet on myself. And here we are.
Oh, and it's so wild to me because season 1 it was me.
Right.
And now season 2 it's you.
We had a little role reversal right here.
We had a little role reversal because I actually manifested my current job. And I used to think about a job like this in the music industry, like, I don't know, 30 years ago, 20, 30 years ago.
That's crazy.
And here it is, it comes in now.
Right.
And I took it. And I've really been like enjoying it so far.
And it's been such a smooth journey with that too, which
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of manifestation is. Like, I don't think it's necessarily like hard work. I mean, you have to use aligned action, of course.
Yeah.
But it's not about like, I have to always push and grind to get to my result.
No.
I don't think that's what manifestation is.
No.
You know, like, as you mentioned with Neville Goddard, it's law of assumption, as though you already have it.
Yeah, that you already have it, and you're making assumptions like on things that you want. So instead of assuming something negative or telling yourself a specific story, like let's just say, like for instance, you wanted to leave that 9 to 5 because you felt like you're done there.
Yeah.
Now imagine like you're wanting to leave, but yet you're holding yourself back because you keep telling yourself over and over, like, nah, I really need this job though. I need the money. I need the money though. And you know, and whatever else, and you just keep on and you're just like, and you're miserable there. And I'm not saying that you were miserable there, but there's
Yeah.
people that were miserable. I was miserable. I've had jobs that I'm miserable.
Yeah, no, I've had jobs where I was miserable too.
And I know people, and
Yeah.
I'm sure you know people
Yeah.
that are miserable at their jobs, and they're always like, I hate it and whatever else, but they still go
Yeah.
because they're not changing that story, that they can get something new, that they can get something they really enjoy, that they can make money that way.
It's a lot of that scarcity mindset,
Yeah, and focusing on the lack.
the lack, every time. Yeah.
So, yeah.
For me with my job, it was like, I didn't have necessarily a mindset of like fear of like, oh, I need this job for the money per se. Although the money was it helped a lot for sure. My big thing was that I felt like I needed to wait for the perfect moment. Like I felt like there's a part of me that didn't feel maybe I was ready.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes into similarly with like a mindset of lack.
Yeah.
A lack of yourself, that I'm confident enough that I could take this leap of faith forward and that I will be okay. A lot of us feel like we need to wait till we get enough money, or we need to wait for the right opportunity to take that leap of faith. But when in reality is sometimes if you trust yourself enough, you just got to make that move. And you'll realize that when you jump off that airplane, you're going to start building this parachute real quick.
Real quick.
And you'll learn that you already have a lot of the resources needed
Yeah.
to build a whole brand new plane and fly to where you're supposed to go to.
Yep.
And I think it's an exciting thing, but you have to be able to take that aligned action and bet on yourself for that.
Yeah. You got to conquer that
A lot of that's conquering that fear. You got to overcome that fear.
and the limiting beliefs.
Yes. Where do you feel a lot of that limiting belief comes from for a lot of people? Because I know it's not just something that you and me have to deal with.
No, I kind of feel though that a lot of people that who have that, like a lot of those limiting beliefs, or they believe certain things, like they can't move more, or how can I say it, like more, like instead of creating this ceiling for yourself, saying like, oh, this is as far as I can go. A lot of it does come from people around us. A lot of it does also come from like society and things that we're taught and things that are said to us. And then there's people around us that project their fears and their limiting beliefs onto us. And then we're thinking, oh yeah, like, and then we get into our head about it and we start overthinking, thinking like we can't do this.
Right. Especially from the ones that we love the most a lot of times. I think that's why sometimes we cannot always be so open about our goals and our plans, because I think the moment we start saying certain things, especially like our family, our parents, like our siblings or whoever,
Yeah.
even our close friends, they will judge us. And it's not like they want to judge us on purpose, but it's like they have this thought that like they want to project onto us a lot of their own fears.
Yeah.
Even when I want to become an actor or be an artist in the first place, I got so many people coming up to me saying, well, why are you going to do this? Like, what about money? Like, most people don't make it. And it's because they're projecting a fear because they never saw it was possible. They never saw that they could do something like this.
Yeah.
So they projected their lack,
Yeah.
their fears onto me.
Yeah.
And therefore, I had realized that I cannot always tell people, like, my plans or my dreams, because then it gets tainted. It gets filtered through them.
You're also triggering people, even when you're not fully aware of it, because you're taking a chance. Even this, you're taking a chance. You're betting on yourself. There's people that want to do that, but they're not brave enough to do it because they have that in them that like, I'm not going to be able to pay my bills.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to make it.
Which is a real fear. It's justifiable.
It's a fear, yes.
It is. Like, I don't blame anybody for thinking like, oh, I don't have the funds. I have to pay for rent. How am I going to do this? Or maybe I got a family. I got a kid. Like, I get that.
Yeah.
But I do.
It's a legitimate fear.
It is, but I never feel like we should let fear hold us back from the life that we deserve.
Yeah. Especially when it comes to money. So if you're believing that you're a money magnet, because I feel I'm a money magnet.
Hey!
I always say like money it's always been there. It always shows up, right? So if this is the way that I think that it's always going to show up, and I'm always saying like the universe is going to take care of me. She always does. And she has proven it to me time and time again, because I believe and I trust that God, universe, source is going to take care of me.
Can you give us an example of when that has like become real for you?
Like being taken care of?
Yeah. When you mentioned like, oh yeah, universe taking care of me, and she did pull through for you.
Probably like the most recent was last season when I said that I was leaving my job. And then I had it in my head. Do you remember I used that example on that? We had an episode on this.
Yeah.
And I did mention this. I had it in my head like, maybe I need to stay longer before I leave, because what if I don't have enough money and then all of a sudden I receive the bonus from work out of nowhere? Right? I stood. I was like, I think I have to stay a little bit longer. And like 2 weeks later, they were like, hey, by the way, you're getting this bonus. It's a surprise for everyone. And I was like, oh no, that's just her telling me like, it's time to go. Don't worry, I got you.
I love
And
that.
I got my money and I put in my notice.
I
But that
remember
was
hearing that story.
proof.
Yeah, yeah.
That was, to me, that was like God, saying like, don't worry, I got you. Universe, like I said, God, universe, whoever it is that you believe in. I got you. Just trust in me and I'll take care of you. And you know how many people also said to me, like, oh, how long are you going to do that for? Like, you sure you're going to be able to do everything? And I'm proud to say I did it for 7 months on my own. Before
proud of
this
you.
job came along. And when
Yeah.
it came along, it was also during the TikTok ban
Yeah.
stuff that was happening. And it was the easiest job I could ever get. Like, it just came right
Happened.
in. It just
Yeah.
flowed.
Right.
You know what I'm
It
saying?
landed on your lap.
It just landed on my lap.
Universe
So,
took good care of you.
yeah. So I look at that being like, oh, that came in because I was able to receive it now and I can work there. It lined up for me.
I had a very similar experience happening to me recently when I made the announcement that I was going to leave my job.
Oh,
Yeah.
what happened?
So I was actually thinking about you when on that night and that morning when I was saying, okay, I'm gonna tell my boss I'm gonna leave my job. Because you mentioned universe always takes good care of me. So that morning, I already knew I was gonna leave. So I was like, I prayed and I was like, all right, universe always got my back. Universe always takes good care of me. I'm always protected. I'm always loved.
Yes.
And I say this and I was like, show me how good it can get, right?
Yes.
And so I message my boss first because he's super busy. I have to message him first saying, hey, I gave it some thought, but I feel like it's time for me to leave. Would love to find some time to talk to you about it. So he said, okay. And then we sat and we talked. And, I was still very nervous because I feel like, I don't know how other people are going to perceive me, what he's going to think and everything like that. I didn't want to have any bad blood. We talk. And it was such an honest conversation between the two of us. And at the end, he just said, he said, I really respect your decision to take this leap of faith and to bet on yourself. And please don't be a stranger. If you ever want to come back to film things or if we have any projects that we feel like you'll be a good fit for, can we hire you as a contractor? And I just felt that was such a positive experience. And then that same day, I had to get my taxes done. So I go to get my taxes done for free, by the way, which is amazing. And then the guy at the end, he like, first I was like, oh shoot, I don't have my social security card on me. It's because you need a physical proof of it in New York State, in New York City.
Yeah.
But they're like, okay, we figured out a way. Your social security is on one of these W-2 forms, so you'll be fine. Cleared everything out for me. The guy files it all. He hands me the papers, and he's like, congratulations. Like, you're going to get over $1,000 back for tax returns. I was like, oh, what? And that same day, too, my new talent agent hits me up and says, oh, hi, by the way, like, check your inbox. You have a new audition. That same day.
I rest my case, yo.
And I was like, I felt like in a similar way, like, I felt like I just got a bonus from the universe.
Yeah.
It's as though, like, when you sign on to a new job, say it's for consulting or something, they usually give you a signing bonus. I felt like that was the universe giving me a signing bonus. Saying that, okay, now this is your new job now on yourself.
Yeah, you know why? Because you trusted. Mm-hmm. And no matter what, you knew it was time for you to jump.
Yeah.
To bet on yourself. You knew, you felt it. You were like, I'm just going to have a conversation with him and let him know this is what I decided. This is what's going to happen. Yeah. And everything went smoothly.
I also do want to give a shout out to the company and to my boss. They're called Puff Media, and they are a media agency. They work with TikTok creators. I do want to give a shout out to them and to my boss for just a wonderful experience that I did have. And what was amazing too was that on Friday, like my second to last day at the office, my boss, Lynch, he sent a message out to the entire team that says, hey, here's Uber Eats. Pick something that you want to have. We're going to have it delivered for 5 p.m. And treat everybody for food as like a send-off for Rob.
Wow, that's amazing. That is so sweet.
I was so touched. I was just so touched by that gesture. Like, nobody needed to do that for me. And in that moment, I felt loved, I felt appreciated, and valued. And it also made me realize that like your time at a company or at a certain group, you don't realize the impact that you could be making on somebody else
You don't.
until you leave, and then they realize, oh dang, like
Yep.
that was actually a really good person, or we really appreciated your energy. So, yes, I just want to take that time to say thank you. But that also was something that stemmed from the universe taking care of me and
Yeah.
like being like, hey, you know, like you've done your time.
Yeah.
Here's a little send off, you know, and I'm very glad I did. You know, I started my first day at this job, and we worked an event. And on my last day of this job, I also worked an event.
See?
So it's like a full
Circle moment.
circle moment. It felt like a fairy tale almost. Like,
Yeah.
and it goes back to exactly what you're saying about manifestation and trusting and really believing that it's possible instead of having a scarcity mindset. You know, trusting yourself, trusting in the universe. Like,
Yep.
and I feel you're so good at that.
Yeah.
Trusting.
Yeah.
I think like talking to you every time and being around you, I'll learn how to trust that more. But for somebody who's like living in their own world, they have to deal with the things that they have to deal with in life. What would you tell them? Like, what kind of advice would you give them in terms of how can you build that trust within yourself and within the universe?
I mean, it all comes down to your mindset, honestly.
Yeah.
It really does come down to your mindset. I had to work on mine, and it took some time because, I mean, I've manifested stuff without even knowing.
Well, we're manifesting all the time.
Yeah.
Like
but
good
I didn't
and
even
bad
know.
things.
And I just like manifest all these things. But I think it really does come down to the law of detachment. It really does. Because you're not so focused on it and you're trusting. I know we keep using the word trust because it's so huge
It is.
to trust when you're trying to manifest. You shouldn't be there when you decide to put something out or like put your order in, right? Like we used this before about the restaurant. But you order in, you're not constantly asking the waiter, you sure this food is coming out? You're not asking, right? So it's like
Right.
you put your order in and you're trusting that it's going to come out. Same thing with the universe. You're trusting that she's going to do what's best. Like she's going to bring it to you, like whatever it is that you're asking for. That's why I always say too, make sure you're very detailed and make sure you're ready to receive it. Why? Because sometimes, and I've known people, I've done it, and I know people too, they will manifest something, they'll put their order in, it shows up immediately within a day or two. And some people back up, like, wait a minute, like they weren't ready to receive it. Like they're waiting, they're thinking it's gonna take time for them to get what it is that they're trying to manifest. No, that's the story that you tell yourself. Because you can have it. You can have a lot of stuff and quickly, but it comes down to you
Right.
and your belief on that.
And that's when there's a whole word for that, like quantum leaping, like when you jump timelines, like sometimes you might not even realize in the moment, but then you could be catching up with a friend you haven't talked to in 3 months, and it could be like, wow, I haven't seen you in so long, but you've changed so much within a month or 2 months, even a few days, right?
Yep.
Like, so you don't need to wait for 5 years to get your business up and running. Like, you could really make a lot of significant change also with aligned action and with, correct planning, but that all goes into feeding your soul and like trusting and allowing the universe to like steer its course. The moment you put up your sail and say, universe, I'm ready to go for it, the universe is gonna blow that wind towards you and you're full steam ahead.
And that's it, yeah.
That's why, be careful what you wish for, because you might get it a lot sooner than you think, and it might be a lot bigger than you've ever expected.
Yeah.
Be open to receive.
Yeah.
One
of the things too that that Neville Goddard too speaks on is the visualization part. Visualizing what it is that you want, right? Like creating that story, creating the scenario, whatever that may be for you. Like if you're looking to make a lot of money, he'll say, okay, picture your like bank account with like all this money, and like how would that make you feel seeing that? Because the most important thing is the feeling. When you feel it, you kind of align yourself with that manifestation, and then you allow that to come into fruition. It aligns, right? Now, it's either that, or if you're trying to manifest love, like, and it could be with a specific person too. Like if you want a specific person, he wants you to visualize like you being in that person's embrace or whatever, being close to them, hearing their voice, like all types of, but it's all about how it makes you feel.
Right.
And one of the things that I realized too, and it's true, like a lot of us struggle with that. Like I can struggle with that sometimes.
I struggle with the feeling part.
The feeling
a lot.
part.
Yeah.
The feeling part. But it's like the more that you do it, the more that, and that's the thing, it's a practice.
Yes. It has to be a very, you got to be disciplined about it, I'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but it's like,
It's active choice.
yeah, and he's telling you to do this before the best time to do it is right before you go to sleep. Mm-hmm. Like lay there and kind of like visualize that. Then when you wake up in the morning, you're supposed to wake up still trying to tap into that feeling like you already have it. You're not looking for it. Where the heck is it? Because when you do that, you're operating out of lack.
Right.
When you're asking or putting something out, and there's a lot of us that do this, right? We're manifesting and we're like, why hasn't it happened yet? It's been a month already. Why are you looking for it?
That goes back to what you're saying about the waiter, like just, hey, where's my food? Is the order coming in? Like,
Yeah.
and also sometimes, many times, a delay is not a denial too.
Exactly. It's not.
Yeah. But you do have to, maybe in those moments, it's not necessarily like the universe doesn't want you to have it, but you're blocking yourself
Yeah.
from receiving it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to make it seem like you're gaslighting yourself for like, oh, I'm doing the work. Why is it not happening yet? Yeah, sometimes it just takes time. But I do think that's when the patience comes in.
Right. But it's also a little tough because in present day, we are experiencing manifestations that we asked or put out
Yeah, like from a few
in
months
the
ago.
past.
Yeah.
And it's playing out right now, which is why when you hear people say like assumption, like it doesn't matter what's happening, what you're seeing in like your 3D,
It
right?
doesn't. Yeah.
Circumstances don't matter because it's old. So everything that's playing out in our life right now are part of old manifestations.
Right.
But of course they can trigger us.
Yeah.
And then we want to try to control it. And then we're like, we're doing all this or whatever, right? We go into automatic survival mode.
Right.
And then, but when listening to Neville, he's like, people get that wrong too, because you have to recognize, oh, I don't like this, but I know that this is something that I thought of before and now it's happening. It's happening to me. In present day, it's happening to me. Like I manifested something before and it's happening now. And I'm going, oh my God, I totally manifested this.
Right.
So now in present day, I'm changing the story.
Right.
I'm changing, the belief. I'm tapping into a different feeling.
I think part of what could help you tap into a different feeling is, there's many ways. Meditation, I think, is a great way to do it. Mm-hmm. Journaling is a great way, like mirror work.
Yes.
Look into yourself, look into your eyes, like saying those positive
The
affirmations.
affirmations work because they help with your self-concept.
It does. And saying it out loud because you're spelling it out for them. And you're literally casting a spell on yourself, right? And it's not just like, it's not some woo-woo hippy-dippy type of stuff. Like athletes do that. Olympic athletes, they give themselves that self-talk like, oh, I got this. I can do this. So it's a psychological thing. If you look at science, and then if you look at the metaphysical part of it, the spiritual aspect, that's all connected too. We're all working in frequencies. Mm-hmm. So the more that you're able to tap into that higher frequency of love, of compassion, of knowing that you already got it, you're going to get it,
Yeah.
What was it? Like Suni Lee, the gymnast, who won gold. There was a whole clip of her where it shows her like right before her final routine, where she just whispers in herself like, I got this.
Oh.
And then she nails that routine.
Yep.
And it's that moment of like, because you could easily just like be so freaked out. Like, okay, this is, what if I fuck up this moment? Mm-hmm. Right? But you're like, nope, I got it. I'm here.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. And it's also working on your nervous system.
It is. Yeah.
You got to work on that too. Like that's and some people don't want to do it, but it's a huge deal to like recognize that because that's how you get triggered and you start getting anxiety and things get all over the place. And they're like, you should start doing like some kind of breath work, meditation, like in that moment, like say those affirmations to yourself, like bring it back to center yourself.
Right.
It's really what you're doing.
And kind of what we talked about with like manifestation, like that manifestation comes effortlessly and easily. And as you mentioned, sometimes much quicker than we think. Yeah. So if we want to get to that state, we should be physically in that state of relaxation where you're taking that deep breath in, that deep breath work. and then you think and you visualize having it already as you're meditating, as you're breathing in, because a lot of yogis talk about that too. Your breath is prana. Prana is life. You
Yep.
know, breath is life.
Yep.
And that's why they say the moment they took their last breath, right?
Yeah.
That's when you leave. So
Yeah.
it's the same idea. It's that breathing in that chi, that good energy, and when you exhale, all the old energy,
Yeah.
you take it out. And you could even do that. Like say you're going over a bridge, you're going over some water. You can take that deep breath and exhale and be like, I'm breathing in, like water gods or whatever you believe in, like wash away all. I sometimes do that. Wash away all my fears, my doubts.
Yeah.
And so I can welcome in all this new positive energy. I do that, you know. So it's like, and it helps. I think, you know, even
in
if
the
it's small,
shower.
even especially in the shower.
Because water is very spiritual. So you could even do it in there. You could even do this whole visualization thing and tapping into the feeling while you're in the shower. You can close your eyes and kind of like try to use that too to like really picture what it is that you want.
I love that.
Tap into that vibe and that energy. Like you already have it. It's already happening.
Right. I sometimes just daydream. I sometimes also rehearse
Yeah.
like moments that hasn't happened yet.
Oh, that's the other thing we got to stop doing. I know you're saying the daydreaming, but we got to stop arguing with people in our heads too.
Yes. Yeah.
We argue with people and we have full on conversations, and that's the whole thing about creating this whole story.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens? You're manifesting. You're starting to assume that.
Right.
You're starting to. It's so easy, right? To like feel into like the bad feelings of things that you don't want.
Yeah, all the time.
But we got to flip it now. We have to like tap into the feelings of the good things that you want.
And that's why I always feel like this is a discipline, it's a practice.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to fall into sadness, depression, hatred, rehearsing those scripts in our head of arguing
Yeah.
with other people. It's
Yeah.
easy to do that because that's a natural default. It's a survival mechanism to protect ourselves
Yeah.
in case bad things were to happen. But in order for you to tap into the goodness of life, you need to actively make that decision to lead with love, to lead with your heart chakra.
Yeah.
And that's not an easy thing to do.
Nope.
But the good things in life, the things that you want, is just on that other side. It's right there.
Yeah.
And I think right now, especially, it's a thin veil.
Yeah.
Especially nowadays, it's a thin veil. That's why I breathe, shower,
Yeah.
work out, because that also helps, you know?
But even on they have stuff on YouTube too that can help. Like you can just type in like how do I regulate my nervous system? And it'll
Yeah.
give you even more examples or more ideas to do that because that's what it is. Like if your nervous system is out of whack, you're automatically gonna feel it in your body.
Always, yeah.
And then what happens? Then your mind starts to race. And what's next? You start thinking about the bad stuff, the worst case scenario.
Yeah, that happens to me more than I can
know, me
count,
too.
you know?
You got to be more self-aware
Right.
for this too. So that's something that if this is you, this is something for you to kind of work on.
Right. And it's okay if you've gone through that and then you catch yourself later on and be like, dang, like I thought negatively about this. Like you don't have to beat yourself up for thinking about that. It's okay to let these thoughts come up. It's okay to let these emotions come up too. Like you don't want to, I don't believe in that toxic positivity type of thing. You have to allow these emotions to breathe.
Yeah, you got to experience it.
You have to. So even in those low dips, experience that. Even if it's anger or frustration, like it's okay. You don't bottle it in. You have to release it. But when you release it, it's so that way you can allow new, fresh energies to come in. And hopefully those energies are the positive ones that you want.
Yeah. And
Simple
you
as
can
that.
have your day. Like we're all human.
Yeah.
We're going to have our days. And I have my days. Rob has his days. Like we have our days.
Oh, right now is the time for affirmations of the day. Sin has mixed up the cards. I want to show you what we got
I'm
here.
ready to pick the card that I always take from underneath. And it's I forgive myself.
Oh! That's crazy.
As
That's
I
crazy.
forgive myself, I leave behind all feelings of not being good enough, and I am free to love myself. And this is what I'm talking about. We gotta have more compassion when it comes to us. Forgiving ourselves for like past decisions. Like the past is in the past.
Right.
And I kind of feel like some people feel the need as far as like forgiving themselves because they keep dragging the past into their present.
Right.
They need to heal from that.
Right. Because the moment you forgive, you're able to let go of all that baggage and that weight that's been weighing you down from the life that you've always wanted.
It's time to like set yourself free.
I love this
forgive
card.
myself.
It's so timely with this episode too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, let's get back to it.
Hey.
If you're thinking too, like, you know, that something goes out of whack or you have like an off day, that doesn't mean like you've ruined your manifestations either.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you have to feel things. You have to like experience things, and that's going to help with that manifestation. You just
Yeah.
got to trust the process.
Otherwise, it's almost like you are taking all of these quote unquote negative feelings and thoughts and emotions and you try to put them in the closet in a way. These skeletons, like, I should not feel sad because that's going to affect my manifestation. Like, bullshit. Like,
Yeah, no.
express it and let it go.
Yeah.
Acknowledge it that it's there and then
Yes.
detach.
Yes. Law of detachment.
Law of detachment, then, you know? Look,
I'm just saying, like, you know, don't obsess over it.
yeah. Don't obsess over those negative thoughts. And also don't obsess when you do have negative thoughts. Because then you're allowing those negative thoughts to get to you anyways. You know, so let it happen, let it go, breathe, prana, tap back into your wisdom, because the source is everywhere and the source is within us too, right? If we're going to talk biblically too, it's like if we're all children of God, then we all have elements that's very godly, and that's all creation.
Yeah.
God is creation. That
We're all
means that,
connected.
yeah, and we're all connected, and if we all have the ability to create, that means we could create the reality that we want. And with enough aligned action, with kindness, leading with love and trust, you're going to get there.
That's why I think it's great too when people speak about accountability. Because that, instead of, it's so easy to just blame everybody else for what the heck is going on in your life, right? But
Right.
when you hold yourself accountable for your part in that story, in that situation, and you turn it around and start putting the focus back on you, you really start to learn about you, and you start recognizing things about you and the way you think. You become much more self-aware, and that self-awareness is what makes you catch those negative thoughts, like,
Right.
or catch the lie or the story that you're telling yourself. Because I've caught myself. Now I've gotten so much better. Like when I think things, I go, that's a lie.
Hey,
I say to myself,
I like that.
That's not even true. Like, you're totally
Yeah.
creating this whole thing for what? You know what I'm saying? You just got to understand, like, we're constantly thinking all day long, which means we're constantly manifesting all day long. Do you want the good stuff or do you want bad stuff? Or, you know, you want to become so self-aware that you actually catch the BS you're telling yourself.
Right. And that takes work.
It does.
You know, even when you talk about holding yourself accountable,
Yeah.
not everybody wants to do it because it's so much easier to blame somebody else or something else.
Yeah.
The moment you take accountability for yourself, then you're, shit. Like, it's a look into the mirror. And sometimes you don't want to look at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Even
but-
like, yeah. What are you going to say?
No, I was going to say, like, but it's necessary for you to do so.
Yeah.
It's part of maturity.
Yeah.
I think maturity, I don't believe maturity is just how old you get, because you could be 50, 60, 70 years old and still act really immature. I think maturity is being able to make decisions and to be able to take responsibilities for the consequences of your actions.
Yeah.
No matter if they're good or bad, you allow yourself to be like, I'm okay with this decision that I'm making, and I accept the responsibilities and the consequences that it comes with it. That's what I think is real maturity.
Yeah.
And that comes back to self-awareness.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
it's like, for example, like even, and this is big for a lot of people in relationships. How many times do you know people that are quick to say, oh, he wasted my time. He did this to me for 5 years.
Yeah.
And I'm just there like, but, you know, they're telling you the story and you see the red flags. And I'm like, you had to have known somewhere along the line here that there was a couple of red flags there, right? So
Right.
what is your part in that story? Because you allowed it and you entertained it and you accepted it. That comes back to you.
Because a relationship takes two people. It takes two
Exactly.
to tango.
Exactly.
You can't always blame the other person,
No.
right? It
And
takes
I'm-
two people to move a couch.
Yeah, like I've gone through divorce and I've been very vocal about it. Like I went through divorce, separation, whatever else, and like did he do things? Yes. Are there things that I can hold myself accountable for? Yes, there is. Of course there is. You know what I'm saying? But I did the right thing to leave. But anyway,
Right. Yeah.
but I had to do what was best for me.
Right.
It should always come down to what is best for you.
Yeah. And only you will know.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is important to, educate yourself, get advice, but listen to your intuition as well. I think, especially in today's age when there's so much stimulation, social media, we compare ourselves with so many other people, it's very easy for us to not trust our own intuition and our own inner compass.
Yeah.
But sometimes the best advice is the advice that you can give to yourself, because only you know how you are 24/7. Only you know how you feel and how you think all the time. So you got to be real with yourself. When something doesn't feel right,
Yeah.
you got to know when something doesn't feel right, and don't bullshit yourself. Don't sweep that under the rug.
Don't
you
be the
know?
one gaslighting you. That's really what it comes down to.
Say it loud for the people at the back.
Don't be the one gaslighting you.
There you
'Cause
go.
We've done it. I've done it.
I've done it too.
We be gaslighting ourselves, and then it's like, wait a minute, what am I doing?
All right. Then I'm just playing the fool. I fooled myself.
Yeah.
Now who's the real ass? Who's the real stupid person
Yeah,
here?
me, because I'm the one gaslighting
Yeah.
and coming up with all these excuses and whatever. Me.
And look, it happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if in those moments when it do happen, obviously, like, you don't want it to happen all the time. But if it does, okay. Take accountability, take responsibility for yourself, breathe, and always know that you have that chance to change that narrative.
Yeah.
Change that narrative for yourself.
It's a growth moment, too.
Always, I find that heartbreak is one of the greatest growth opportunities for people.
It's definitely growth.
Yeah, I've learned more in heartbreak than I do like being in love.
Yeah.
You
That is true.
As crazy as it may seem, like I learned so much
That is
about
true.
myself in heartbreak.
Me too. That is true.
You're confronted with everything.
Yep.
Your time at Heartbreak Hotel, you're seeing all these demons come out. You've seen every part of yourself. You're seeing why this don't work, why that doesn't work, what is wrong with that person, what is wrong with me, everything. And then you start your healing journey. But
Yeah.
then that's where metamorphosis comes in play. That's when you could actually go into your cocoon, really heal and do your inner work, and then get to the point where you're ready to then leap out and be a butterfly.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Of course it's possible. I've passed that. You passed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've had tough heartaches and we get through, and we're going to have more.
Yeah.
We're always going to have more, but it really depends on us and how we, our perspective on that.
Right.
And what we entertain and what we don't entertain.
Right. And every time you heal and overcome an obstacle or disappointment or heartbreak, and you learn and grow from that, it's not like life hands you softer problems. The problems are, in fact, some of those problems are even bigger than what you previously have had to deal with. But you now have more tools and experience to overcome them. It's like playing a video game. And when you're beating the final boss at this level, it feels like the hardest thing ever. But then you keep leveling up. And then after that, you hit a new boss. You hit a new level. But then by then, you have more skills under your belt. It's the same thing in life. The more experience that you have, the more wisdom that you accumulate, the more pain that you're going through. Not saying that pain is good, but sometimes pain is necessary in order to get to where you want to get to.
So to wrap up this episode,
Definitely.
because
Yeah.
we could be going for 3 hours.
Geminis, the yappers right here.
To wrap up this episode, though, like when you think back as far as like growth moments or things that you've manifested, what is advice? What is the piece of advice that you would give the younger you? Even if it's like, let's say 10 years ago.
Wow. I'll say, how's it going, man? Everything is going to work out the way it should. So love yourself, trust yourself, be kind to yourself because you are such a beautiful boy and you treat everybody with kindness. You give everybody an opportunity to be who they are. You don't judge other people, so don't judge yourself. Love yourself. Don't be so critical of yourself if you're not critical of other people.
Whew.
Know that as you keep living this life, you're going to go through heartbreak. Things that you thought that you want to do, you might not want to do later on, and that is fine. Don't beat yourself up for that. You are who you are when you wake up in the morning and when you go to bed, just like the sun rises in the morning and sun sets at night. You're golden as you've always been. So I wish you the best. And 10 years from now, I'm going to look back on this too. And I'm going to be very proud of how far I've come.
Ooh, you know what
Yeah.
I would tell 10 years ago to Sen?
What would you say to yourself 10 years ago?
You don't need anyone to validate you and your gifts. You have to do that. That's something that I would tell myself. Because 10 years ago, too, was still a little bit of a struggle.
I'm sure it is for a lot of people.
Yeah, and that you need to just choose you time and time again. It's you first and then them.
Choose yourself.
Choose yourself.
Look at that. Wow.
And yeah, and probably have more compassion for yourself. And yeah, trust the process.
It's like that self-love.
Yeah, that's probably what I would say to myself.
I feel like we're both trying to say to our younger self is to, love ourselves a bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to beat ourselves up for things that we really have no control over, especially things from the past. Like,
Right.
that's it. Why drag
Yeah.
it into the present? Mm-hmm. It's back there for a reason, right?
Exactly.
Like, and at some point, what's going on right now is going to be part of our past. So, and we're not even really focusing on the later.
Right.
We're having this moment, present
here.
day, right now.
Right here,
That's
yeah.
how it should be.
Because the past doesn't exist anymore. That's already in the past. The future doesn't exist anymore. That's in the future. Present is the only thing that always exists.
Yep. But the past did help shape you in some way.
Yeah.
So you still got to have still have to embrace the things that you've gone through to get here to this moment.
Well, I do think that's part of what self-love is to be able to look back at your old self in the past and not have to be shamed. Don't feel shameful of who you were in the past or feel guilty about who you were. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, there could be some fucked up shit that happened. I get it, but don't beat yourself up over those things.
No, there's no need.
Especially when you did not know or you didn't have the wisdom or even the way to articulate those feelings back then. We
Yeah.
all go through that. Self-love is being able to, and self-compassion is being able to accept every part of you. The past part of you, the mistakes that you made, the angry part of you, the impatient part of you, accepting all those parts. The emotional part. I used to feel that being emotional was a detriment. Until I learned, I felt that like being emotional and sensitive was a weakness.
Yeah.
I felt that.
There's a lot of guys that feel that way.
Of course, yeah. And
There's a lot of,
it took a lot of unlearning to stop that.
My hands are standing with you saying that. There's got to be a spirit here because it feels very cold right now.
Hi, spirits. Hey, Grandpa.
It's probably your grandfather. Literally, my hands are like, woo.
Oh, dang, I see it. Oh, that's crazy.
But one thing is for sure, though, like, and I know we're trying to wrap up this episode, but like, when it comes to like, and that's the thing, stop being a masochist. When you drag the past in and it's something painful that happened to you, you keep replaying it over and over and over. Now in present day, you're being a masochist.
Yeah.
Because now you're entertaining that. Like, you're bringing it in when you don't have to. And that's what you gotta kind of like that's why they say like watch what it is that you're thinking and what it is that you're telling yourself.
Right.
Love yourself more.
Right. And that's why present moment, breathing, being right here in the moment. That's all that you need to worry about. You know.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Hey.
Another episode in the books. Happy manifesting, y'all. You got this.
Happy creating. Please write down in the comments what is something that you want to manifest, or if you have manifested something recently, tell us your manifestation success story. Reread all the comments.
Everything.
So yes, once again, my name is Rob.
My name is Sin, and this is
Gemini Soulcast.